Atlantic City, December 1979. Inside the resort's international casino, a poorly paid cocktail waitress sits by the baccarat table. She isn't a gambler, she doesn't even bet, but she's winning, big time. Using only a bra strap, a gift for crossword puzzles and a tiny flaw, she's up $50,000. Until tonight, the pit boss barely knew her name. Casino security are watching her every move because truthfully, they don't know how she's doing it, or if it's legal. What happens next is crucial, but to understand why, we need to go back to the start of the year. In spring of 1979, Resorts International has just become the first proper casino to open outside of Nevada. Legal gambling has finally arrived in Atlantic City, although the industry is still under intense state scrutiny. Within 6 months, it's drawing in millions of dollars from New York, Philly and beyond. For the players, it means bright lights and big dreams, and for low-paid workers, it means lots of casino jobs. Lorraine Delaney is there from day one. She's a pretty girl next door type, working the graveyard shift as a cocktail waitress. Quiet and unassuming, she blends in with the low-limit customers from Jersey and New York. She does her job well, helping the casino make its millions. Now nobody really notices, but her mind is elsewhere, because although she might not look like one, Lorraine is a nerd, and her real love is for crosswords. From the New York Times to Dell Pocket Puzzles and those thick supermarket crossword books, every single break she's buried in her crosses and her downs, and she's good at them. But not just because she's good with words, her memory is near photographic. It's not much use in real life, but it does mean she can spot visual patterns, and she sees them in crosswords, makes notes in her little geek book, clue structures, construct habits, and the way certain types of words are always used across with certain others. Today, she'd be labelled as autistic or on the spectrum, but in 1979, she's just seen as a quirky all-American waitress with a thing for puzzles. So when she spots one on a nearby baccarat table, her life truly changes. Between working, Lorraine watches the baccarat table. She plays a bit herself because it's fun, fast and sociable. She likes memorising the cards, similar to her crosswords. After a while, she starts to notice something odd. On certain tables, at certain times, the cards follow a loosely predictable pattern, so she pulls out her notepad and scribbles down the results each time she sees them. There appear to be short, reoccurring clusters of cards. Soon, it reaches a stage where she has a good idea of what's more likely to come out next. It doesn't happen often, and it isn't for long, and she doesn't know why it's happening, she just knows that it is. In theory, there's a way to rig the game and beat the casino here. Concerned, she shares her theory with a dealer, and he shrugs her off. Next, she tells the casino pit boss, but he laughs in her face. They shuffle with machines, so what she's saying is impossible. But Lorraine's certain. She knows she's not wrong. And if no one's going to take her seriously, she's going to exploit it for herself, but she'll need help. Lorraine has a friend named Rudy who lives in a neighbouring apartment. He's an engineer dropout with greasy fingers and a room full of busted up electronics. Junk he's either taken apart for the hell of it, or fixing for a few bucks. The pair hit it off 6 months ago when her space heater died, so she shows him a notebook, tells him what's been happening and the circumstances they happen under. He asks her some questions about casino staff and shift patterns. Between them, they begin to explore the possible options. Casinos across Vegas and Atlantic City are currently making the switch to automatic shufflers. Resorts are using theirs on baccarat, a game which is always played quickly. These simple mechanical models have exploded in popularity amongst casinos as they combat card counters. And whilst it feels like space age stuff, making resorts feel slick, modern and immune to human error, she spotted a loophole. Machines make mistakes too, systematically. Now for context, in baccarat, one hand is dealt for the players and one to the dealer. The aim is to predict which hand will reach a total closest to 9. Bets can be placed on the player, the banker or a tie. What's unusual though, is because the cards are dealt face up, there are no secrets. Players are allowed to take notes and in fact write everything down because card counting gives them no advantage, unless, that is, those cards start reappearing later. The machines are designed to shuffle decks fast, so players spend more time playing and less time watching. But how much the casino wants to speed things up depends on the time of day. At peak times, techs are being instructed to shorten the shuffle cycle to keep the table moving, and that should be fine, but effectively it's cutting corners, creating a partial shuffle. Clumps of around 30 cards are sticking together, and then at some point in the future, reappearing in the same order. It's no longer randomising, the cards are repeating instead. To make matters worse, the shuffle speeds are not then being reset until the next morning. This means that repeat clumps aren't just appearing when the casino is full, they're also happening when things slow down, when there's more time to see exactly what's happening and exploit it. The question is, Lorraine and Rudy ask themselves, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to take this observation to the top so the casino can make even more money? Or are we going to say screw them and make a few dollars for ourselves? About 10 seconds later, they've come up with their answer. The 30 card loophole comes up maybe twice a night. The key is to spot it when it arrives. Lorraine can note down everything, so that won't be a problem. Once it does appear, she'll know when the cards are coming. All someone needs to do then is bet hard on the player, the dealer, or the tie, all the while knowing they'll win. Lorraine is smart, so she doesn't want to be in the hot seat herself. As an employee, it will be an instant red flag, and that's where Rudy comes in. He gets straight to work on building a basic two-part signal system. He works a small mechanical clicker into the strap of one of Lorraine's old bras. Just above the top of her left breast, 2 coin-sized batteries will power the device, allowing her to send quick, short-range radio pulses to Rudy. On the other end, Rudy will have a small buzzer strapped to the inside of his groin. 1, 2 or 3 clicks will indicate what he should bet on without making eye contact. It's crude but effective, and subtle enough to go unseen by casino security. So in the summer of 1979, they head to the resort's casino at the start of a Wednesday night shift. They settle in at the baccarat table. Lorraine makes some notes and Rudy is playing quietly. The casino is still busy, but as it thins out, the first loop of cards appear. And so they try out their system for the very first time. It works, and they bank $1,500. The next week is $2,000, then $3,000, and eventually $5,000. 3 months in, they've discreetly cleared more than $25,000. Splitting the pot 50-50 is a big deal for the pair, but the casino is none the wiser. Now for context, that's more than $100,000 in today's money. Every other night of the week for Lorraine is business as usual, working a 12-hour shift weighed down by a tray of watered down rum and cokes. But as she slogs her guts out, there's one thing on her mind: Wednesday night. She never speaks to Rudy when they're playing, and he never looks at her, and he never bets too big. By the end of the summer, they've made over $50,000. It's starting to look like their system is foolproof, but unbeknown to them, there's a problem. On a quiet night in the fall of 1979, Lorraine visits the restroom during a shuffle and misses something. The young dealer fumbles and mixes up the order. Later, when she thinks a loop of repeat cards has just begun, she issues their instructions as usual. They get lucky with a couple of bets, but by now they're betting bigger, and when the cards that should be coming don't, it ends with a $6,000 loss. It's a huge amount of cash to the pair, and Rudy immediately gets spooked. He wants out. He's happy to help with the tech, that's much more in his comfort zone, but wants to stay away from the heat. And this leaves a vacancy, and a very big problem. Places like Las Vegas and Atlantic City are not known for their trustworthy people. You don't go blabbing about ripping off casinos, or you'll end up being banned. Or, if you're less lucky, swimming with the fishes. So when choosing an accomplice, you need to choose very carefully. The trouble is with Rudy, he doesn't have any friends, and the trouble with Lorraine is, all of hers work at resorts. Except one, a guy called Kevin. Now Kevin is a good looking guy, a rich kid from New Jersey. He's having a year of fun after college, working at the bar down the street. He's smart, charismatic, and he hates the casino. So Lorraine decides to gamble on him. She explains how it works. Respond to the buzzes, stick to the betting limits, don't look at her. He can do that. He's in. And on the first night, he nails it. The tech works, he sticks to the plan, and they're back on track. Like clockwork, they do the same thing again the next week. But it isn't third time lucky. This time, Kevin goes off script. He does what the buzzers tell him to, of course, but when he's told to bet on a tie for a bigger payout than usual, he goes all in. He bets everything he has and wins big, almost $12,000. This is not what they do, and immediately they're flagged by casino staff. Up in surveillance, they rewind the tape. They see Kevin betting perfectly, and Lorraine moments before adjusting a bra strap. It's not enough, not based on one night alone, but they start thinking back, and soon they're the ones seeing a pattern. They knew they'd been down on the baccarat table, but never enough for a huge concern. However, Lorraine had always been there, every time. Immediately, she's placed on the casino's watch list. Lorraine and Kevin spend the next week arguing. She's furious, and rightly so. Unaware, the resort's casino are building a case. Resorts have contacted a surveillance consultant. He watches back the last suspicious wins, the bra fiddle, the big bet, and he works out how they're communicating. Next, he takes a look at the shufflers, runs test after test after test, and spots the flaw that they have. Immediately, Resorts spread the word to Las Vegas. The shufflers are withdrawn from service. But Resorts keep one in action, the one Lorraine will see. They want to tempt her back for more action, and before long, it works. On her night off in December of 1979, Lorraine and Kevin head back for another hot streak. She scopes the room. She sits out a loop just to be sure, checks one final time that Kevin isn't being a jerk, and then, deep into the night, when the loop runs again, she finally presses go. Bra strap, bet, bingo. And again, bra strap, bet, bingo. Sensible bets, not too big. Bra strap, bet, bingo, and they're back on track. Also it seems, until a quiet hand lands firmly on her shoulder, and another one landing on Kevin's. But as they pull her aside, Lorraine grins. She's prepared for this moment long in advance. They might have caught her, but they can't prove a thing. Getting pulled in by security in 1979 is not a fun experience. The air is full of tension. The men they're brought to wear suits, corporates from the casino and the gaming commission. They slide a folder across the table full of surveillance photos, win-loss data, timings, the lot. And at first, they invite Lorraine to confess, but she refuses. They ask her how she did it, but she pleads ignorance. They decide to share their theory of what's been happening, and it's exactly right. How she's noting down the numbers, spotted the loops, and telling someone else how to bet. They read her notes out loud. The runs are there in black and white. They now have the reason they need to conduct a search for some kind of cheating device. They search Kevin. They check his pockets, his shoes, his sleeves, all the usual hiding spots they'd caught famous cheats with before. But they find nothing, because the casino is searching for the wrong thing in the wrong place. They're looking for buzzers in shoes and transmitters in cuffs, but Lorraine and Kevin have gone one step further, and when they turn to Lorraine, she doesn't flinch. Lorraine crosses her arms and raises her voice just enough for outside staff to hear. You know what this is, right? Targeting a woman, dragging me aside and threatening to make me undress? The room falls silent. Atlantic City's casinos are shiny and new, and under intense media scrutiny, desperate to prove that they're not like Vegas used to be. Lorraine leans in, eyes sharp. You want me to make this public? Because I will. She's raising the stakes and calling their bluff at the same time. They're caught between the need to prove their theory and the fear of a headline that could seriously damage the new casino. They can detain her and ban her, sure, but legally they can't force a full strip search. Not without calling the police, not without a female officer, and not without real evidence. But there is no device, no proof, no confession. All they have is a waitress who never touched a chip, and a guy whose only crime was playing the cards that he was dealt. And that's the game. It's just that this time, the casino isn't willing to gamble. Instead, they issue her a lifetime banning order. It's full of legal garbage. Due to observed behavioural anomalies and statistical irregularities, etc., the casino speak for, we can't prove it, but we don't like it. So she doesn't need to sign. It's not a request. She passes it back, stands up, and walks away. A free woman, and it stays that way. The casino responds by replacing shuffle machines and introducing periodic checks because the casinos don't like it when they're the loser, especially when it's to an underpaid waitress who, by all accounts, beat the house without breaking the law. But she's not alone. Check out this next wild story. Now if you love these wild stories where the little guy beats the house, hit subscribe because I've got a whole load more coming soon.